it's Douglas Coleman.
Hey, 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 welcome to the premiere of the Douglas Coleman Show. I am really happy to be here. Thank you for coming. We have a good show. We have a great show for you today. Before we begin, though, I need to introduce my co-host. He's a man of few words, but many thoughts. The effervescent, phosphorescent, the always inscrutable Mr. John Morgan. How are you, John?
Thank you, Douglas. Hi, everybody.
Hey, how's it going in Las Vegas today?
Very hot.
Well, why doesn't that come as a surprise? What's it, 140 there today?
109 or something.
Okay.
But it's a dry
You,
heat.
yeah, I know. It's not the heat, it's the humidity. I tell you, I haven't been this excited since Kraft macaroni and cheese went all natural. And you know how that was with me, with macaroni and cheese. You know, now they got rid of the yellow number 5 and the, what is that, ethylene glycol or whatever else they put in that stuff. Well, anyways, we got a great show. We got a great guest. I just want to pay homage to a few people before we start. I'd like to thank Daddy Murr for all his help in getting this show organized with me and really being the inspiration for the show. I don't think I would have done it without Daddy Murr's help. So thank you, Daddy. Also, a big shout out and thank you to Jimmy Starr of the Jimmy Starr Show, who was nice enough to mention me on his show, and for all of his retweeting to his 1 million+ followers and getting the word out about the new Douglas Coleman Show. Thank you very much, Jimmy. And last but certainly not least, I'd like to say thank you very much to Cindy and Jen of Lady Lake Music / Entertainment, I think it's called now, for just blasting the word out everywhere, Twitter and on blogs and you name it, they did it. Thank you very much, ladies. That was terrific. Well, I guess we should introduce our special guest today. Let's see. He is a Los Angeles-based singer-songwriter with a truly unique attitude and sound. Although the commonly associated picture in a listener's mind of a singer-songwriter is a lonely guy standing in a bedroom recording a melancholy ballad with an acoustic guitar. His music is a lot less narrow, going for an energetic and uplifting vibe. Please welcome Mr. Jared Martinez.
Thank you so much, Douglas. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Jared. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. Happy to be here.
Hey, did you know that, last week we put up a picture of you and a picture of me with the show logo on Facebook?
Oh, yeah,
and,
I saw that.
To promote the show. Okay. Did you know you have a huge fan base in the Middle East? We got like 75 likes on that picture.
Wow.
And like 50 of them were all from Arabic countries because all their websites were all in Arabic.
Wow. You know, I have been getting a lot of messages from girls in the Philippines, but...
Yeah, well, they want a green card. They want a green card real bad.
that could be the same message you're getting from the Arab guys, too.
Oh, maybe.
So anyways, speaking of Facebook, one of the things I saw on your Facebook, since we've become friends now, that I was really thrilled with, and you'll forgive me if this sounds slightly condescending, but I was very proud of you for putting this thing up. And I'll read it, and you'll know what I'm talking about. I want to tell people about this. Okay. It's basically a poster, and it says, hiring a musician or asking them to perform at your event, and then it's in 2 columns. You know what I'm talking about now, right?
Oh, yes. This was awesome.
Yeah. Okay. And so it says, on the left column, it says, what you think you're paying for, and it just says someone to perform some music. And then on the right column, it says what you're actually paying for. And there's a whole list. I won't read every one, but it says someone to perform some music, equipment, hours of rehearsal time, rehearsal space, transportation, money for lessons and training, promotion and websites, income tax, telephone and internet, manager, agents, other booking fees, not to mention the payment also has to cover food, housing, blah, blah, blah. The line that killed me, that I loved the best, was it said, still think that offering exposure, in quotes, and experience is a fair price? I got to tell you that when I was, well, how old are you, Jared?
I am 20.
20. Okay. Well, when I was about 20, 5 years ago or so.
Bullshit.
What? Excuse me, John? Did you say something?
No, I'm sorry. Clearing my throat.
Oh, okay. All right. So it wasn't 5 years ago. It was more like 30 years ago, 33 years ago. Anyways, we used to get that. And I got one story about exposure, but tell me if you have one. Give me one of your exposure stories if you've got one.
I mean, most of the time, venues in Los Angeles, they really want either pay to play, which I don't do, or they have a guaranteed minimum of tickets for you to sell. So what I like to do is promote the heck out of things, so it's never just for exposure for me.
Well, okay, give me an example. Like, say if I wanted to hire you and your band to come to play at my birthday party, and say I'm local, you can just throw all the stuff in the van and come over. What would be a reasonable rate that you would charge to come and play for a couple of hours?
A couple of hours. Well, I recently saw something which gives a good guide for this kind of thing. The person was trying to hire some wedding musicians, and they said, you know what? Call up local plumbers union. However much they'll charge for 6 plumbers for an hour, we'll charge you less.
Interesting. Okay. So what would you think? What would a plumber? I have no idea what a plumber would get for an hour.
I mean, there are 3 people in my band, so to cover gas and stuff, I'd probably say maybe 200.
That sounds pretty cheap, actually. I was thinking more like 1,000 or 500 at least.
Well, that sounds very nice.
Well, I guess you'll have to come play at my birthday party, except I'm not local, so 1,000 would be really cheap for you to come all the way here to play.
In Vegas, right?
Well, no, John's in Vegas. I'm in Thailand right now.
Oh, yes. That'd probably be 5,000 or 6,000 then, probably.
Yeah, at least. I think so. Well, I just want to tell you real quick about my exposure story, because it's just funny that, 30 years ago this was still going on, and obviously nothing much has changed. I was in a band. There were 4 of us. We were playing in a club, a bar really, on the Upper West Side in Manhattan. And we were playing for 4 hours. We had 2 hours, about a 20-minute break, and then another 2 hours. We were paid $25. Now, that was all of us, not each. So do the math, folks. That's $6.25 a person for 4 hours. Okay, even in 1980, whatever, 81, 82, it was still lousy money, okay?
Oh, yeah.
So we went to the guy and we said, we need a raise. I mean, this is ridiculous. And he started giving us the crying story about, but I'm giving you exposure and all these people. And we said, look, all these people are not coming in here to buy your overpriced drinks. They're coming in here to see us. And in fact, we packed it in so good on some nights, he had to put tables out on the sidewalk because there were too many people for the bar. I don't know where this guy was from. He wasn't a native. He wasn't born in America. I think he was a recent arrival. And I just always had this kind of picture in my head, like what his conversation to his parents before he left, Mama, Papa, I go New Land, America. I open bar. I give new artists exposure. And it's like they must learn that somewhere, because I've heard that so many times. It's just... Anyways, this is my public service message to all you venue owners and club owners out there. Pay the musicians what's a fair price. Okay? Thank you very much. All right, moving right along. Speaking of exposure, how about we expose our listening audience to one of your songs?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Chad, you there?
I'm here.
Okay. We're going to play Lock It Up first, Jared. Why don't you tell us about that one?
This song, Lock It Up, I got produced by an amazing producer local to me. His name's Jordan Higgins. We actually may have another song in the works soon, but this song tells the story of me kind of giving up after the last straw on the whole love thing because it was never working out, and locking it up just seemed much easier for me.
Locking up emotionally?
Yes.
Ah, yes, I've done that too. Okay, here's Jared Martinez and Lock It Up.
Chance to try before I have to say goodbye. So what's the point of getting close when this goodbye will hurt the most? I'll lock it up to save myself the pain of losing someone else. This is it, I just can't win. I've lost it all, I'm giving in. No matter how I toss the dice, just fine. I'll lock it up to save myself the pain of losing someone else. This is it, I just can't win. I've lost it all, I'm giving in. Save myself the pain of losing someone else. This is it, I just can't win. I've lost it all, I'm giving in. I lock it up to save myself the pain of losing someone else. This is it, I just can't win. I've lost it all, I'm giving in.
Yay!
Woohoo!
All right. Nice song, Jared. I really like that one.
Thank you so
What'd you
much.
think of it, John?
Excellent.
Who did it remind you of?
I'm trying to figure that out. It's very reminiscent of something, but I can't put a finger on it.
Yeah, neither can I. It sounds like a lot of people, but not really like anybody, yeah?
Sounds good to me.
What kind of music do you listen to, Jared? Who were some of your influences?
I listen to so many kinds of music, but growing up, I think the most I listened to were Queen, All American Rejects, a lot of 80s rock, and lately some Broadway stuff too also.
Wow, that's good. Okay, that's where you get your melodic sense, because you definitely have a strong melodic sense with your music, which a lot of, unfortunately, more of the younger music or newer music doesn't have. I wanted to ask you a little bit about your recording techniques. Do you record at home, or do you go to a studio, or what?
Do You Really Want to Hurt Me and Lock It Up were recorded at Jordan Higgins's home studio, but I did the rest by myself. So when I'm recording by myself, I have a lot more leeway as far as spending time goes.
When you record how do you start with a rhythm track, with a computerized rhythm track, and build on top of that?
Well, what we did is we started with the acoustic piano track for that song.
Oh, good for you.
Because whenever I performed that live, before and I was just by myself, it was always just me and the piano. So we figured we'd take that essence into the recording of it too.
Well, no, I think that's great. I mean, that's how people used to always record before. But it seems like a lot of more modern music, they start with a computerized rhythm track and build on top of that. And there's no way I could write a song that way.
Right,
you know?
right.
It's just that I sit at the piano and I come up with a melody, and maybe I'll have lyrics already and then write a melody to those lyrics.
Oh yeah, totally. Like for me, I want to make sure my songs breathe and have life. And if they start computerized, there's just no room for the song to grow as it's developing.
Exactly. Really. Do you listen to rap at all?
I do actually, yeah. Whenever I produce other artists too. Lately it's been a lot of rap artists. So I do love listening to delivery and helping them figure out how to best communicate their emotions.
Okay, maybe you can explain something to me, the old man, about rap, because I liked some of the stuff that was in the 90s, what they call old school rap now, like Run DMC and some of that. But after a while, it lost me. Like, I'll be honest, I am not a Kanye fan. Okay.
Neither am I, to be honest.
Okay, but I just don't get some of it. I find it really crude and really negative and really misogynistic.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't think it's a great message to be putting out. But the other thing about rap, too, and maybe you can explain this, is that to me, okay, music for me has to have melody and it has to have lyrics. Now, with rap, there isn't a particular melody. It's just rhythm and lyrics, correct?
Right.
Okay. So what do you do? Do you have to make the lyrics just that much better? Or because you're not, I don't know, I'm getting lost with what I'm trying to say.
Right.
But because there's no melody, it seems to me the lyrics would have to be twice as good.
Right, and that's what you'd think. I think a lot of times, a lot of these independent rapping artists are so caught up in the rap, quote-unquote, culture of rapping about sex, drugs, and money and stuff, that they're forgetting that what they're saying can actually influence people around them and can be a much better listening experience if they really try. So when I'm working with people on rap stuff, I want to make sure that if we're not just focusing on the negative lyrics, we can provide interesting ways of fixing phrasing, little different things with the music to kind of help the song drive, since there is no melody to go along with it.
Okay. All right. Do you find that it's repetitive, though? I mean, how do you tell good rap from bad rap?
I like rap that tells a story. A lot of rap that's on the radio these days, the choruses actually are sung by featuring artists and stuff, which I think really helps communicate story. Because the chorus is repeated and it helps drive the meaning of the song, but the verses are where it's kind of moving the listener into a different place.
Okay, now what about the rap that, uses the N word and the MF word like every other syllable? I've heard a few of those.
Oh, yeah, those are all over.
And, I mean, that has, I don't know, some people think it's the greatest thing on earth, but to me, it just sounds crude and offensive,
I mean, unfortunately, some of these songs that do have lots of bad words have some of the best productions that you hear these days. So,
well, right,
right,
that's
which I think helps make these hit songs. I don't think people are in love with the crude language. I think they're in love with the artists and the production and the way it sounds when they're dancing and stuff.
Well, I blame the major labels for signing those people in the first place. You know, the one thing that's interesting about how pop music has evolved, if you've ever looked at music history, is once MTV came into the scene, it was no longer about what you sounded like.
Oh, yeah.
Really what you looked like. So I'm getting the impression that some of these guys, the rapper guys, as long as they look the part, the music comes second. And, you know, the labels will just create some wizardry in the studio and make it sound all slick and glossy. But I don't find much substance in what I'm hearing.
Yeah, and if you take a look at the rosters of the people these labels hire to write songs these days, it's not uncommon to see 6, 8, 10 people working on one song.
No kidding. Okay, wow. It takes that many?
I guess so.
Man, talk about your singer-songwriter sitting in the lonely bedroom, huh?
I mean, I can write lyrics that would work very well for raps. I just don't think I have quite the delivery to do so myself.
It makes me think of a conversation I had with a guy named Matt Kesar, who has a great podcast. Hi, Matt, if you're out there. And we had this conversation about how music today is not really created, it's manufactured, like an assembly line. And when you tell me that there's 6 and 8 writers on one song like that, it just kind of confirms what I've always been suspicious of, is that these things are just manufactured like that, you know?
Right. And that's why I think when a really, really good song comes around, there are hits, but then there are super hits when the song actually sells itself and not just the production and the quote-unquote songwriting. So I think when like a really, really talented songwriter comes around and they're themselves are writing hit after hit after hit, they're going to be the next people. They're going to be talked about like the Beatles and stuff.
Well, I hope so, because I don't think we've ever seen anything come close to the Beatles. You know, it seems like people have 1 hit, 2 hits, 3, and then they disappear. Right. They don't have this lifelong career. Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at McCartney at 72, he looks great, and he's still going, you know?
Yeah, totally.
He's been in the business over 50 years now.
Oh, yeah. Tell me, have you ever heard of Ryan Tedder?
No.
He is the lead singer of One Republic, but he's written, I think, over 100 hits for different artists as well.
Okay.
So he has a longevity of a career of writing music and producing and writing for himself. So career-wise, that's kind of something that I aspire to.
You want to be a songwriter, like a professional songwriter for other people?
I would love to do that to supplement what I do for myself as well.
Okay. Well, I think that sounds great. And what about getting your songs in? What I want to do is to get my songs sync licensed into films. That's really where I'm pushing.
Well, you do know Cindy. She's a music supervisor now, so.
Yes, I know Cindy. In fact, she's going to be a guest on this show. We've booked her for the 23rd of June.
Very nice.
She'll be on.
I'll make sure.
All right, why don't we play another one of your songs? We got Chad.
Hi, Captain Coleman.
Made for Me, ready to go?
Sounds good.
All right, tell us about that one, Jared.
Is this, I think you cut out. Which song is this going to be?
Made for Me.
Made for Me. Okay, this song tells the story of a girl I was really into. I thought she was into me also. And we were, quote-unquote, dating. But she wanted to break things off, and I didn't. So I tried to convince her to stay.
Okay. Here's Made for Me by Jared Martinez.
like we're going back to the start, 'cause no one's leaving. Your heart's deceiving. All you need is to believe me. Hearts are racing. Can't you see that? You're making me. No one's leaving. Your heart's deceiving. All you need is to believe me. Hearts are racing. Can't you see that? You're made for me.
Yay! Was that it?
That was it.
I'm going to be careful never to step on the end of the song, because sometimes I've heard songs that do that and then go back in again, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Now, I know who that one reminded me of. John?
Still drawing a blank. It's go ahead.
Oh, come on. That intro, the guitar intro, right away it clicked in my head. You don't know?
No.
Okay. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Oh, okay.
That guitar part started, yeah. But then your voice doesn't sound like you sing better than Tom
Thank God.
Petty. Yeah, really. Tom Petty's a great musician, but his voice can be a little bit trying sometimes.
Nasal.
Little on the nasal side. You know, some people said that about Bob Dylan. You know, for a great musician that he was, some people just can't stomach his voice. You know.
Oh, yeah.
But your voice is very nice, very soothing.
Thank you.
Yeah, it did have a certain Tom Petty sound. Then it kind of went off on its own, and I like that. I like the guitar riff on the beginning. Let me change gears here for a second. How did you hook up with Lady Lake Music?
That's actually a pretty funny story. I was looking at I think I was on Reverb Nation, and I found this guy named JD Nash. And I was in the process of starting my pseudo record label, and I was very interested in bringing him onto the team. And I was talking to him, he seemed kind of interested, and then he said, you know what, let me get you in touch with my publicist, Cindy. And we met. It was a little bit of a rocky beginning, but then we kept talking and talking and talking. She became like a mentor to me, and now I'm her intern.
Oh, great. So what exactly are your duties at Lady Lake?
They vary from being someone nice to talk to helping with
That's a
social
good
media, promoting, anything that she feels comfortable assigning to me.
All right. John, you got any questions for Jared?
Not at the moment.
Hey, John, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
Very good.
Okay. Well, keep something in mind if you do. Hey, Chad, I was just wondering something.
Go ahead.
If Jared and I were to sing together over this thing, would it sound ridiculous?
Well, I've never, seen what it was like on... Well, no, let's try it.
Well, because I'm thinking there might be a delay somewhere in the process, and we would be
out of sync.
I think
out of sync.
Well,
exactly.
I don't know. I think Skype's pretty real time. I mean, you've seen those commercials where the musicians are going back and forth. So I don't know. You could give it a shot.
I know. I don't want to put Jared on the spot.
You just did.
Well,
I just did.
What would we sing?
Well, you said you knew some Broadway tunes. Do you know On the Street Where We Live? On the Street Where You Live?
Oh, I know I've heard the song, but I don't know it.
Oh, okay. Well, what's one you know?
I know anything Phantom of the Opera, Jersey Boys, Wicked, Les Mis.
No. Well, I'll tell you what. Can you sing a cappella? Are you brave enough to do that on the radio for everyone?
Sure, why not?
Okay. Why don't you sing like a minute of something, and then I'll do mine. How's that?
Sounds like a plan.
We'll have the Battle of the Stars here.
Let me see. Which song? Do you guys know Stars from Les Mis?
Just do it. Just sing
Sure.
it.
There, out in the darkness, a fugitive running, fallen from God, fallen from grace. God be my witness, I never shall yield till we come face to face, till we come face to face. He knows his way in the dark, but mine is the way of the Lord. And those who follow the path of the righteous shall have their reward. And if they fall as Lucifer fell, the flame, the sword, stars in your multitude, scarce to be counted, filling the darkness with order and light. How's that?
Yay! All right, very nice. I liked it. That sounded great. Reminded me of my days of doing high school musicals.
Oh, very
All
nice.
right, I guess it's my turn now, huh? Let's see. Let me make sure I get the right key. Okay, this one is from My Fair Lady, which was a play I did in high school.
Oh, cool.
I have often walked down this street before, but the pavements always stayed beneath my feet before. All at once am I several stories high, knowing I'm on the street where you live. Well, people stop and stare, they don't bother me, for there's nowhere else on earth that I would rather be. Let this time go by, I won't care if I can be here on the street where you live. Okay, that was it.
Very nice. You must have had fun in musical theater because you're a tenor.
Yeah, it was. And you know, I'm happy I'm still a tenor at 53 years old, because sometimes the voice starts to go, but everything else is going, my body, my hair, but the voice is still intact, you know?
Well, thankfully, all those for me are still getting better.
Oh, well, look, you're 20 years old. You got your whole life, man. Tell me now, what is your next project? What are you working on right now?
Right now, I'm working on my next EP, which I should be releasing this fall or winter.
Okay.
It's going to be 4 or maybe 5 songs, and I'm having a lot of fun writing it right now.
Do you, I guess what I want to ask you is, music is it for you, right? Like, you're not going to just, you say, well, I'm just doing this now, but if it doesn't work out, I'm going to go get a real job? Or are you determined to fight to get to a place where you can, you know, make a living at it?
I'm determined to make this it.
Good for you.
Whether that means being a performing artist my whole life to support myself and my future family, or diving more into the business side, as long as I'm in music, I'll be happy. I've had quote-unquote real jobs before, and even though I'm struggling right now, I'm still having a much better time than it was then.
Now, are your parents supportive of your musical efforts?
Oh yeah, my mom went to college on an organ performance scholarship, so she's familiar with music.
Oh, well, that's helpful.
Yeah.
Great.
Plus she's, even though I'm 20, she's still very helpful, like a stage mom, except like a manager, sort of.
Is she Holly something?
Yeah, she is.
Okay. I'm sorry, I don't remember the whole name, but I did see her pop up on Facebook or something. Okay, so she's your mom and your manager?
Well, she's my mom and my manager in faith. I do have a manager.
The one song that we don't have that I like, but I just wanted to ask you about it, and then
Sure.
we'll get to your third song, I think. It was one called Too Far Gone.
Oh, yeah.
That
Love that
one,
song.
to me, the piano sounded very John Lennon. In fact, the whole song sounded John Lennon. Was that conscious that you did that?
It wasn't conscious, actually. That song was actually really fun to figure out how to record because the whole time I was trying to play the intro and the choruses in 4/4, but it ended up having to be in 5/4 and then switching to 4/4 for the verses.
Okay, well, that might be part of why it sounded so Lennon-ish, because
Maybe, yeah.
he used to do all these odd meters in some of his songs that sounded perfectly natural when you put them all
Right.
together. But if you wrote it out, if you scripted it out, it looked like, what the hell is all that? I mean, you just, you
Exactly.
know.
When my
But,
when my band and I first started practicing that song in the rehearsal studios, we had a tough time getting in sync for the intros and stuff.
I'll bet. And somebody wanted to use a click track, and you say, no, it won't work on that song, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so the next song that we have is called Do You Really Wanna Hurt Me? Now, did you know that that's a Boy George song from the 1980s?
Oh, yes, and that's why I was very, very careful to make it wanna and not want to.
Okay.
You were right, John.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, he was the one who pointed that out. But I like yours better than... Boy George was more of the... He came along right at that time when MTV first started, and he was definitely more of a visual
Yeah,
artist,
he was
I
definitely
think.
a camera hog.
Yeah, definitely a camera hog. He definitely wanted to be seen, and the music was sort of secondary. But, okay, so tell us about this one.
This song, the description kind of will remind you of the description for the previous song. I was spending a lot of time with this girl. I actually wrote this song in 11th grade of high school.
Was this the same girl?
Different girl, actually. This was 11th grade in high school, and this song started out as a project for an AP music theory class. But then I ended up turning into a full-fledged song with lyrics because I was going through a lot. And what's really funny is I thought this girl and I were dating, but she didn't think so. And when I got sick at one point and I was gone home for a couple weeks, one of my friends asked her, "Hey, where's your boyfriend?" She said, "Boyfriend? Yeah, Jared. Jared, he's annoying." So, I know, it was sad. And then this amazing song came out of that, so who cares?
Well, now, this is two girls you've told me that you've said you thought you were dating, but they didn't think you were dating.
Oh, yes.
So are you the soft heart and these girls are just cold, or are you just blinded by love?
I think I'm a little bit old-fashioned in my way that I want to date and stuff. I think the common culture these days is that you're either exclusive or you're not dating. But I think dating and being a boyfriend-girlfriend are totally different things because you can go out on dates, you can court, blah, 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 and it's not the same in my opinion.
Okay, so if you find one you like, you're going to stick with her, and it's, is she, what are you, checking her out for marriage probably?
Not quite at this point in marriage, but...
Oh, good.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, get your life done first,
I
you know?
I am Mormon, so it wouldn't surprise me, but not yet.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I think Cindy told me that, but what is that? How does that affect your decision to get married? Do you have to marry another Mormon?
Not necessarily, but people who go to BYU tend to get married very, very young. That's why I was making that comment.
Oh, okay. All right. Just let me ask you one thing about your faith, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Did you go on your mission?
No, I didn't.
Oh, and was there? You sound disappointed, or?
I mean, it's not really disappointment. It didn't quite make sense at the time. So, I like to serve where I can.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, listen, you probably had other things to do with your music, right? Going on a mission would kind of get in the way of that, I think.
Exactly. That's part of it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's hear this song.
So you went with Mr. Perfect. Is he really even worth it? Can't believe you never noticed. One glance left me breathless. Do you really want to hurt me? 'Cause that's all I really do it. If you really want to hurt me, keep up what you're saying. So much space has come between us. All the time I spent was wasted, writing words on empty pages, being filled with someone else's. Do you really want to hurt me? 'Cause that's all I really do it. If you really want to hurt me, keep up what you're saying. You know I'm not alright without you by my side. I can't sleep at night. I can't say goodbye. Do you really want to hurt me? 'Cause it's all I really do. If you really want to hurt me, keep up what you're saying. Do you really want to hurt me? 'Cause that's all I really do it. If you really want to hurt me, keep up what you're saying.
Yay. All right, Jared.
Thank you so much.
I think for vocals, that one's my favorite. What do you think, John?
Definitely, yeah, and nothing like the Boy George song. Much better.
Oh, no. God, no, much, much better.
That's
Well,
definitely
listen,
a compliment.
the fabulous Chad has told us that we have about 4 minutes left, so we're going to have to wrap this up. Jared, tell everybody where they can find you. Give everybody your web stuff.
Sure, yeah. I'm on Twitter. My handle is at JaredMTZMusic. Facebook.com/music.JaredMartinez. And JaredMartinezMusic.com will be back up in a little bit. We're revamping that right now. If you want to hear any more information about me, feel free to add me on Facebook also and just shoot me a message.
All right, super. Well, I tell you, Jared, you have been a pleasure to have on the show. And if the show keeps going, if we decide to do any more shows, I've got 8 right now that I've been locked into doing. And
Nice.
after that, I'll have to see what's going on. But if we do more, I would love to have you come back, maybe after you get your EP done.
I'd love to
And,
be back. Yeah, totally.
Are those new? They're all new songs on the EP, I assume?
Yes, they're going to be all new songs in the EP.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'd love to hear them. And, well, let's see. I want to just give a quick shout out to the chat room. I haven't said anything. Hello, everybody in the chat room. Rebel, Chase, Cindy, Lady Lake, Daddy Mer, Dean, E-Man, Holly, Jane Yates, Jared. Oh, you're in there. Lady Lake Jan, Lanelle. I don't know Lanelle. Marcy and Stars and Vicky. All right. Well, if you want to find me, you can find me on Facebook at Douglas Coleman Band page, and on Twitter at Douglas Coleman 3 or Douglas Coleman S for show. Also, my personal page is like Jared's, DouglasColemanMusic.com. And from there, you can pretty much branch out to everywhere. If you start at DouglasColemanMusic.com, you can go everywhere, and you don't have to keep bouncing around. There's pictures and all kinds of things. Next week's show, we are going to have the legendary music producer Stuart Epps. And if you don't know who he is, just Google him, because he is famous and he has worked with everybody who's anybody in the British music scene. Notably, he's worked with Elton John. He's great friends with Elton John. He's worked with Led Zeppelin. He worked on the George Harrison tribute album. He's worked with Bad Company, Bill Wyman, Robbie Williams, Oasis, Chris Rea. John, did I leave anybody out?
No, I think you covered him.
Okay. And he also works with Douglas Coleman. He is also my producer, who I am very privileged to work with. He's produced 4 of my songs now, and he's going to be on next week to talk about the old days of rock and roll in the 60s, and when he was a young lad working at Dick James Music, who was the publisher for the Beatles. And he's got lots of interesting stories. And,
Oh, wow.
If you're around Jared, tune in, because he's a really fascinating guy. He's a
Will do, yeah.
great guy. All right. Well, Chad, are we out of time now?
That's a wrap.
All right. Well, this is Douglas Coleman saying goodbye, and please tune in next week. Thank you for coming to the premiere of the Douglas Coleman Show. My special thanks to John Morgan, as always, and to our special guest, Jared Martinez. Thank you, Jared.
Thank you so much, Douglas, for having me.
Okay. Good night, everybody.